Hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition.
Yes.
Right. I'm excited.
Right? And he is running a little bit behind, but he will be here. Tim.
So we're going to run the show without him, and we're going to run right off the tracks because we're unsupervised.
Because it's a crazy train.
Whoop, whoop. Anyway, welcome. I want to do the intros.
Fine, you do it.
Welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition, the podcast that failed to get the half-off sales renamed to the Darth Maul clearance.
And before we get into tonight's show, we need to say thanks to our show partners, River City Tees and Level Up Lightsabers.
Let's roll that nerd footage. If Nick can find...
With over 700 designs to choose from, River City Tees has something for everyone. Need some new nerd merch? River City Tees has you covered. Need funny or sarcastic designs? River City Tees has you covered. Are you looking for a new logo or custom design? Whether you need 1 or 100, River City Tees has you covered. With multiple colors and options for each and every design. With things to choose from like shirts, hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, and so much more. Be sure to follow River City Tees on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, you'll get the latest on designs and information about upcoming sales. River City Tees. Let's make a shirt together.
All right, that was one of our show sponsors. Now, for our favorite show sponsor, Level Up Lightsabers. Love that sound.
And yes, Jason, we had a lightsaber duel, and unfortunately, he became Darth Maul.
He just, he finally came to his senses and did the, nope, I'm done. I'm done with that nonsense. Anyway, links for both River City Tees and Level Up Lightsabers hopefully will be found in the show notes after Tim shows up. Tim, please come.
Yeah, I don't know where the show notes are.
Tim, I need you.
Oh, thanks, John, for the confidence.
Oh, Jason, this is either going to be fantastic or it's going to be disastrous. I'm thinking disastrous.
Well, John is wearing his Funny Science Fiction Podcast t-shirt that he bought from River City's Tees. Kathleen still needs to buy me a lightsaber, though. And Tim says he's on his way.
All right. You know what, though? Let's add to our chaos and start welcoming in our guests before Tim gets here.
Would you like to do the honors, Kathleen?
How about if I take the first two and you take the other two?
Sure.
All right. So we would like to welcome Jake the Jedi and Chris D.T. Gordon to the show.
How's it going?
Hey, guys.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Go ahead, you go first.
Go first.
Oh, I'll go first.
All right.
All right, guys. My name is Jake. I have a TikTok. My name is Jake the Jedi on TikTok as well. I do lightsaber stuff. I love Star Wars, Marvel, everything. I'm just a normal guy,
Wait, if you're normal, you're not in the right show.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. You're right. You're right.
This might not be for you.
I guess we'll find out. I think I'm good here, though.
Although if you feel that you're normal here, you're probably not, but we'll accept you anyway.
There you go.
It's kind of what happened.
We'll find some weirdness in you.
That's true.
And Chris, tell us about yourself, too.
Certainly. Thanks for having me here, everyone. I really appreciate it. My name is Chris D.T. Gordon, as you were told earlier. I am usually on my own show called Scar Bearers, where I tell my story and other stories of trial and triumph. But as you can tell, I'm also a huge geek, and I'm excited to share the geekdom with my new friends here. I got my Boba Fett hat and my Loki sweater.
That is a fantastic sweater.
Thank you. It's Merchoid. You got to check it out. I know not as good as River City Tees, but they got some good stuff there too. And so I'm so excited to delve into the geekiness.
Awesome.
Excellent. And we also have Phil Better from the Feel Better podcast.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Master Allen, our longtime friend. So we have a full house tonight. And
Should we let them introduce themselves too?
No, not at all. We're not allowed.
Oh, I
to
guess.
No, don't let us introduce ourselves because that's dangerous. I'll let Master Allen go first since he is the wise one.
Whatever. Hopefully everybody has seen me at least one other time before this if you're on the pod. To everybody on TikTok, Funny Science Fiction Podcast. You can check us out on Facebook or YouTube. And yeah, I am a humble purveyor of lightsabers, dunking on Anakin and Ponkrell. And that's most of what I am known for to this point, at least among the Star Wars community.
Speaking of
Alan, I have to
dunking
tell
on
you that I love you because one of my students and I were talking about the prequels, and he praises the prequels, and I was just talking about how much of a whiny teenager and / cheerleader that Anakin is. And so, no, I already am your biggest fan right now.
So
Well, and if your takeaway from Anakin is that he's a whiny teenager instead of that he's a lesson, then it's a lot harder to watch him screw up. But the purpose of his character is to be a lesson. We're supposed to watch him screw up so that we can be like, man, I need to not do that.
True.
And then and then it makes it a much more like then the story is for me at least is a lot more enjoyable. Because I had that same problem you did the very first time I watched it, and then I saw it and it was just like, now I get it. Now I understand. It's a cautionary tale.
But otherwise, I mean, it's harder to swallow him being this grandiose figure when he sounds like that. And he comes from such a hard beginning. You think he'd have a harder edge to him growing up on the sands of Tatooine as a slave.
So you have
think
to
the sand should have
wait.
fucked him?
So if I may just jump in, Phil Better, podcast mogul, hosts a lot of podcasts, yada yada yada, nerd. Doesn't matter right now.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
We're on Anakin. It is on.
It's already started. So you have to remember when Anakin came into being taught the Jedi ways and all that, he was told constantly that he is the prophesized one, the one to bring balance to the Force. So his ego gets bigger and bigger, and it's being inflated because Palpatine is there. You don't look at him as a whiny person. I mean, he is a lesson because it's a lesson twofold on society. You have to look at it as society as a whole. They're telling you that if you overinflate someone's ego as the children, because I'm going to take the boomers saying millennials are entitled and yada, yada, yada. So you're telling us we're entitled. We're believing that we're entitled. So when we do ask for these things that we want, when we get rebuffed, we get pissed off because we're not used to being told no, right? So he's been told that he's this amazing person. He's the strongest Jedi, yada, 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 for his whole life from everyone. And then when he does finally get onto the council, they're like, yeah, we don't want you on this council. You're here because you're politically appointed, which goes against the basis of the Jedi ways. And because he's like, but I've been told that I'm this prophesied child. I'm been told I'm bringing balance. I'm so powerful. I'm the best since Yoda and whatever. He gets told, no, you're not. You don't get the rank of master. So it's understandable. It's just if you look at it as a millennial, he's being told his whole life, like, you're entitled. Go get a degree because you're gonna get that better job. And we all end up in fucking friggin' debt. And then finally, when we do get
You put the coffee link up.
coffee, yes, I will send it. Such a hard time. But he gets told that he's not, and he's going into the workforce or he's going into the world, and he's told, like, yeah, you're smart and you're powerful and all that, but then you're not getting the benefits that we were told he was supposed to get by getting that rank. So that pushed him over the edge. He's like, the Jedi, because he's listening to this, apparently this guy who's
bring that caption back up. I want that caption. I have to talk to that
Anakin is
person.
justified pissed because he keeps proving himself over and over again. Yes. Bring it back
No,
up.
Anakin is a tiny machine that disobeys orders and commits war crimes.
But if you, I watched something really.
That is all Anakin does. He proves himself over and over again by then also denying accountability for not following orders and committing war crimes. And so I'm with you on your analogy.
Who trained
the problem
him? Who trained
is,
him? Who trained him?
Go back
to
the problem with
Masters
your
and all the
analogies.
way
Let's go back to
Yoda. It's
hold on,
Yoda's
hold on.
falling.
Get ready. Get ready.
But
Yoda's failing is what.
But what happens?
Anakin
But what
Skywalker.
happens when Yoda defies the council? He stands there and says, "Yep, I did it." When Qui-Gon
course,
defies the
but-
council, yes, I did it. I accept the consequences. When Anakin defies the council, he is never willing to accept the consequences. He always has an explanation as to why he doesn't need to be held responsible. And that is the reason why Qui-Gon and Yoda are Jedi and Anakin becomes a villain and a mass murderer.
Oh, I'm not debating the fact that there are reasons why Anakin, but I was more. I took offense with saying that he's a whiny bitch.
Which, well,
That's-
but so
I didn't say that, but I
Well,
just
but-
love
That's the
my-
biggest thing I
I
had.
love
Like,
I'm getting you guys
there are
right,
like, look, I look
and
at the
I'm
prequels.
like
There are
watching,
faults. There are faults in the prequels. Like I'm
that way,
not.
okay.
Wait.
But so but the
What are we doing?
interpretation- so
Pointing
here's
which
the-
way?
Pointing at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I was trying to go that way. But so
it's mirrored, so
there
it's
are
weird.
a lot of people that when they first saw the prequels, the reason why their experience of Anakin was that he was a whiny bitch is because they were struggling with a lot of the difficulty communicating emotionally that Anakin was.
Mhm.
And what they saw was somebody that was fracturing, and we'll make him about toxic masculinity for a second.
Sure.
And like Anakin fracturing under his inability to communicate his emotions and turning away from help because he thinks those things are what heroes do, because heroes don't need help. So if I accept help, I'm not a hero. Men don't talk about their feelings because men are able to control their feelings, like all of these things. And that's all part of Anakin's story as well. But if you are in your early 20s when you see the movie, which I was, and you haven't figured out all of those lessons yet, your takeaway from him is that he needs to man up because you're having to watch him buckle in a way that you are trying not to buckle. And so you can't acknowledge his struggle, because if you do, you are admitting your own struggle, and then you have to come face to face with your own
Mortality, reasoning, and psyche.
yeah. And also, like, I'm not
I'm
like,
having a great time already. I like it, Master Alan.
and the real tragedy of Anakin is he thought he was keeping secrets from people that understood what his secrets were. Everybody saw him struggling. He thought they didn't know.
I mean, he
And
did
he was afraid
technically
to
bring
tell them.
balance to the Force.
He did. To be fair, I agree. He did.
Yeah. But no, yes, that was I enjoyed that. Okay, we can continue. What's the real?
So hi guys.
You got to introduce
Hey, Jim.
yourself. You haven't like do the full
Oh, yeah.
intro.
The
Rather.
full
we
intro.
got
introduction?
into this.
So, hi everybody. I'm Phil Better, the podcast mogul. I host 6 podcasts that I run all by myself, interview based, entertainment based, and teaching based. And I also executive produce about 18 other podcasts, all ranging from financial to influencers building their brand. And I help indie podcasters, business owners, entrepreneurs, and influencers leverage the power of podcasting and automation to maximize their time and minimize their effort into putting into the production of their podcast.
Now I know
That's-
I don't need to take Mick seriously.
I
Because
missed
he
that.
either believes that and he's a sociopath, or he knows he's being a troll and I don't have to acknowledge him.
It's mixed. So.
It's
We go with
you're rolling a dice.
Yeah, like,
on
you know,
certain comments.
It's a little bit of both.
So,
Yeah.
Tim, do you want to introduce yourself too? Since
Hi,
You weren't
I'm
here.
Tim. I'm here. I'm new.
What's up, homie?
Long time
Happy
listener, first time
anniversary,
caller.
Tim.
So, yeah, today is my 24 years with my wife. Put up with me for 24 years.
Woo! Wait.
So yeah, so that's what's going on today over in the Tim world. But yeah, so glad to have you guys on here, Chris. So glad you could make it. Jake, nice to meet you in person.
Nice to
We've
meet
been
you.
talking.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
we've been texting a little bit on Discord. By the way, if you're not already on TikTok and you need to go to TikTok, check out Jake the Jedi. His channel is really cool. Check out Master Alan at Level Up Light. And really cool stuff. Jake, I was watching your stuff the other day, and the blade swinging you're doing, I'm like, ooh,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
cool stuff, man. Cool stuff.
Thank you.
And of course, I was a guest on Chris's podcast on Scar Bears talking about my own journey through different things, and Chris has been gracious enough to come on another show that I host called Focused on Forward. But through all those conversations, we also both realized that we're giant geeks and we have something in common, and so that's why Chris is here tonight. And then, of course, my podcast mogul, the king himself, Phil Better, the man who every time he talks about how many podcasts he has, I get really, really sleepy.
I do have to
'Cause-
say though that when you told us who our guests were and you posted on Facebook, and I clicked on Chris's profile and the necrotizing fasciitis survivor, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
even just the words necrotizing fasciitis, I'm like, I know what that is. That's insane.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
an origin story.
Oh, that is
That is an
I'm
origin
on
story.
Deadpool.
that is impressive. That is an impressive.
Way to go, Darth
The
Man.
after show, I can show my scars.
Let's go.
There you go.
1,000. Woot woot.
That's good.
Money
That's awesome,
right
man.
there.
All right, so where are we on this stream of things? Because I kind of came into this all
We have
willy
not
nilly.
Missed a lot.
We haven't even
So
started.
we've dunked on Anakin 7 different
Sidetracked
ways.
The first half. Me and Master
So
Allen
yeah,
had
so
a
I
very
walked
interesting-
into Anakin being whiny, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
You mentioned that you would have expected Anakin to have been a little more polished than he was, and I
Indiana
feel
Jones
like,
meets Freddy Krueger.
but I have to laugh a little bit. You're talking about somebody who grew up on a sand planet being polished, and I'm like, so he was like, well, I stand.
Well,
Like,
pun,
that-
well done. Well done on that pun.
Thank you.
I saw
That one.
saw a meme earlier today, and it showed the Black Knight from Monty Python and Anakin just sitting there together.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
Anakin's like, I guess we'll call this one a draw.
Nice. Just a flesh wound. All right.
We didn't have
Okay,
the high
so-
ground, so
I always like the picture of Darth Vader looking at the lava lamp, and the lava lamp says from Obi-Wan on it.
Oh
Nice.
boy.
Nice.
Oh, that's
It's
dumb.
All
one
right,
of those,
so-
every time it goes into our Facebook group, I approve it. Even though it's in there like 800 times, because it doesn't make me stop laughing.
So for tonight's topic, we originally weren't planning on talking about the prequels, but I love a little detour. Detours are always fun.
We were just
So
waiting
tonight,
for you.
yeah, I know, and I do appreciate you guys biding your time waiting for me to show up. But you guys did a wonderful job on the beginnings there.
Yeah,
Well done,
guys
you.
rocked it.
So before we jump into that, I do have one more small detour. I need to give a good shout out to another show friend, our fellows over at the Showboys podcast. They sent me this really super cool Moff Gideon glow in the dark Funko Pop
What?
and T-shirt combo. So I'm really stupidly excited about this. I just have to decide whether or not I'm going to open the box because, as you may see, I'm not a big fan of opening the boxes.
There's a
So-
lightsaber on screen. There's 2 lightsabers on screen.
Five.
Yes.
Lit lightsabers on screen.
I can start them if you want.
No, we're good. We're good. I don't need to be more emasculated. Thank you. Over here, just in my little sword. Got Darth Vader there.
But big thanks to the fellows over at Showboys for that Funko Pop. It means a lot to me. And if you haven't checked out the Showboys podcast, I strongly suggest you check them out. They're actually running, and we're going to talk about Boba Fett tonight, but they're actually running a companion show to their normal show about episode by episode breakdown of Boba Fett. And they had me on their episode 66 or Order 66 special, rather, a little while back to talk about what my views on Order 66 was and my views of the importance of Order 66 in the Star Wars galaxy. Really cool conversation, and strongly recommend those guys. But tonight we are here. We have summoned this High Council of Nerds. Yes, not the High Council, but
Like
a High Council of Nerds. Want to make that clarification. That's a whole TikTok thing. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, really excited to have these guys here because we're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. We're 4 episodes in, and just want to see what everybody's thoughts are. What do you have predictions? Do you have theories? What do you think about the show thus far? How's it going? And
because you can't see my
go.
background now.
You don't feel cool because we can't see your background. I can see your
I
background.
need no, but the logo.
Oh, that. Okay.
The
yeah.
logo was blocking his face.
Oh, you're black, Kaiser.
It's just
It's awesome.
yes, Nick.
Oh, I was just
He's
trying
just
to grab
holding the logo.
He's just
Yeah,
holding,
just
the logo. Thank you for doing the job.
I'm
man.
like, I can adjust.
I thought
my-
we were like in class. All of a sudden, Nick's like,
back.
I'll just raise my
"Teacher, I
hand
have a
here.
question." I raised my hand.
As probably the least Star Wars nerdy nerd here. I've been loving it. I love the flashback, seeing how he's come up, the connection to the Mandalorian, seeing how that's crossover is going to happen as well. I've been watching a lot. There's a YouTuber I follow called Heavy Spoiler, and he does a lot of breakdowns of shows and stuff. And he's been breaking down Easter eggs and all that. And I had no idea about the Wookiee bounty hunter. I had no idea because I'm like a casual fan. I'm not like deep dive in. But it's been awesome because it's I know they put the legend, like I know they split the timeline or the world of Star Wars into legend and then what's now canon, and they're somewhat bringing back some of the legend stuff into what they're calling the new, like the Disney verse version of Star Wars. And I'm enjoying it because I feel they're playing homage for the fans. Like they're giving the fan service, but at the same time it's not like it's being shoved down our throat that some studios Sony has done in the past.
Subtle. I dig it.
Right? I completely forgot the name for a second as I'm coughing. I'm like, oh, that's the name, and then it comes out afterwards.
Nice.
But yeah, so like I've been enjoying it. Like I know there's been criticism because it's not like what everybody thought. Like Boba Fett's being changed and all this, and it's like whatever. Boba Fett was just a badass because he was a bounty hunter and he looked cool. That's Boba Fett for me as a 5-year-old. So sure. I said 5. It was not a swear word. Want that clear? Only one coffee.
There you go. Go ahead, Chris.
You know, I agree with you, Phil, that, you know, and we have to credit, you know, Dave Filoni and especially Jon Favreau, who's writing the series, about giving us so much in the way of those nods to the legends, to the comic book. Yeah, that's where I always want to say Black Chrysanthemum, but Black Chrysanthemum.
That's his sister.
And yeah, she's a pretty princess. And all of those little nods. And so I'm loving it too. This is a smaller issue, but I think that Rancor is a Trojan Rancor.
Oh yeah.
100%. You can't trust Danny Trejo.
I'm really interested to see how the Hutts play this off, because it's going to be just epic when it happens. But you know, they could not have cast a better Rancor trainer than Danny Trejo.
I know.
I mean, if you look at his face. His face says Rancor trainer.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to get my Danny Trejo
really
Funko Pop.
As well, Phil.
That has to happen.
If I don't get a Danny Trejo Funko Pop, I'm going to machete something.
We riot. That's
we riot. Yes, that's it. We're just riot.
I saw an interesting TikTok too about the Rancors are Star Wars pit bulls.
Yeah.
Well, after that last episode, kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, that they're misunderstood and they're used for fighting, but they're actually big, sweet, loving creatures who are very loyal to their owners. And I'm like, oh, my dog is just a human. She's an Earth Rancor. Like, makes her a little bit cooler than just a silly.
So, while we're talking about animals and other planets and all those things. Okay, so one of the things that I didn't understand ever about banthas was they were good for anything other than just riding them, apparently. But the simple fact, like, they are so apparently loyal. Like the one that's following Bobo around is like that's his best friend. He's wagging the tail and everything, and I was like, holy cow! Like, that's just a big furry sheepdog.
Yeah.
So every time I hear the bantha go, I always go back to the Star Wars real-time strategy game. It was like Star Wars Battlegrounds or something like that.
Oh,
and like every time you click on a bantha, it would go.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's funny.
Oh god, memories.
Is that like when you go up to a sleeping cat, poke them just for them to do that little
part of it? Yeah.
And like every time you moved them, they would just go.
Nice. All right, Jake, what's your take so far?
I'm loving it, man. I don't understand why it gets so much hate. I really don't. I mean, it was a little slow. I just think people had expectations, even though people people think Boba was super like badass, but I mean, he really in episode 6, he's really not. He doesn't do too much. He just looks like he is. So I think people aren't giving him enough time to develop. I mean, they are going through flashbacks. He did get like devoured by a huge animal, but at the same time, now he's full strength. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, stomach
as
acid will
one
do that
goes.
to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
So I
You
hear.
know, I
So
found it
I
kind of interesting, and I kind of agree with you, Jake, quite a bit actually, because one of the things that I think is plaguing the series is expectation versus reality. We've had 35, 40 years in order to build this up in our minds as to
Mhm.
what Boba Fett should be or could be. And so people want to see that because that's what's in their brain. They want to see that
Right.
on screen. And if they don't get that, they're not allowing for the build up and the backstory, because I think up to this point, I think Boba's only had about, was it 10 to 13 minutes of on time on camera time.
More lines.
Yeah, he hasn't had a whole lot. So everything that people have imagined Boba to be is not from film.
Right.
It's from their imagination.
And
And yeah,
Legends.
he looks really cool. And from Legends and all this stuff. So they want it to be that.
And I
Right.
feel like we're
Is it-
gonna get there. I feel like that's where they're headed with it.
100%.
That we're going to
100%.
get that
100%.
that pure satisfaction of that's the Boba we've been waiting for.
And we've seen glimpses of it already.
Well, and
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And the,
So-
the fourth episode is really, because like the first 3 episodes were really heavy on exposition,
Mhm.
telling us we got there, because all of the episodes were basically split between flashback and Boba's like present timeline. Like we had 3 episodes that were each actually just 1.5 episode of those individual threads. So
Right.
like that was a lot of time to invest in setting the board for him becoming the Godfather, which is basically what this has been building to. And the
Yeah,
fourth
right.
episode
Like, that's what
finally,
this
like,
feels like is Star Wars Godfather, which
yeah.
I'm all
I don't
for.
know if anybody ever watched the show Black Donnellys. It only got 1 season,
Amazing show.
but
By
it's
the way, I knew I liked him.
so like Black Donnellys is the origin story of this leader of the Irish mob, and what the show was originally supposed to be about was the very, very reluctant acceptance of that role by the main character. Like the main character didn't want to be in organized crime. He just kept getting dragged in because of his brothers. And so like it was this sort of like The Sopranos, that's what it was supposed to be. And Boba Fett seems very much like it's supposed to be Star Wars Sopranos. It just took us a really long time for Boba to be the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
But we had all this set up, and we had to watch Boba get knocked around a lot, which is the cult following of Boba Fett in the Star Wars community is a very interesting mix of people. And of the people that get super mad when Boba Fett is not automatically successful and really good at everything are like, it is a perfect circle with toxicity.
Oh yeah.
That Venn
Venn
diagram.
diagram, it's
What
just,
topic
it's just
play?
them. It's one on top
What's
of
the
each other.
phrase? No one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans.
Yes.
Yes.
And like there is a
Chris
lot
gets a star.
yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of the negativity around Boba Fett up to this
Yeah.
point that like people wanted episode after episode of Boba Fett coming in and being a gunslinger.
hmm
Because we got a lot more action from Mandalorian than we have from Boba Fett so far.
I mean, there's also
Right.
2 seasons though.
Well, but I mean,
There's
even at
two
the
But
seasons.
even
beginning,
in the
And
first
it's a-
couple of
it's-
episodes of Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The
And
first 4
it's
episodes of Boba
completely
Fett.
2 different characters. Like we don't know how Boba Fett was. He was smart because we knew that he figured out where the Falcon was and trailed them, and we found out a bit about his origin, that he was a clone. That's it. That's all we actually really know of this Boba Fett character. Hold on, we're gonna be doing this then.
I'm gonna have to get one of these.
well, but this is the
I have to buy one. Yes, I know. I have to buy one. I don't have one.
Oh, you didn't win your questionnaire when you were a guest?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. I was never given one. Damn.
It's a
We'll
different
talk about
podcast. That's my fault. I set you up for.
It's
Well,
okay.
We'll talk, Phil.
But yeah,
I got
like
you.
we
Wait.
don't know how
Oh, go ahead,
smart
go ahead.
Boba Fett is because we don't know who he is. We, as you say, people have placed their own expectations on him. Like he he said it. I don't want to be a bounty hunter. He's like, after being eaten by a guy, by a sand thing. Like, why do I want to be a bat? Like, I can be like Jabba and control stuff. Yeah, that's a much like I never understood why people are like, I just want to be the muscle. Like, no, I want to be the guy controlling the muscle because
Right.
then I don't get hurt.
Nobody wants to be the muscle forever.
Right.
Everybody.
Oh
is
no,
happy
there
being
there
the
are
muscle for a while.
there are many people who are happy being the muscle because they don't have to think.
Well,
I get my money and I'm
But
happy.
eventually that muscle's gonna give out. So
but then you, but then you
Which
hit
is
the point
fine
where
because
it's
then I
like,
can replace it with a new muscle. Like I realize this. This is the problem. A lot of the manly men or the toxic masculinity things, they forget that this is more powerful because if you have this and control muscle, it's better than just having the muscle because
Right.
you can be used. Like that's why I always looked at like the Riddler because he's using like brain power over the muscle of Bane in that. So this is the problem. Like no one knows who or how smart Boba Fett is because we don't know where he came from because last time we saw him, he was holding up his dad's head.
Yeah.
You know, and then afterwards, like, where did he go? Did he go train with the Mandalorians who
So
are
someone
there's a
hasn't
bunch of
watched
bad
Clone
bits in the
Wars.
animated Clone Wars, which is worth watching.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of arcs of young Boba in the Clone Wars
right.
being taken in by assorted bounty hunters.
Mhm.
And that's how he himself becomes a bounty hunter. But he's also basically just pulled into a lot of opportunities to try to sabotage the Clone Army and the Republic and some other things like that. Like he's essentially he's a radicalized child turned terrorist. Which I mean, he watched the Jedi chop off his head, and so then he wanted to destroy all the Jedi. I get it.
Worst bring your
fully
kid to
okay.
work day ever.
Absolutely the worst one ever.
I don't know,
Possibly
the Death Star one is kind of bad too.
the Darth Vader bring your kid to work day is also a bad one. Because
Right?
you end up
Yeah.
killing your boss and dying. Like it's also pretty bad.
So
Whereas Mando took his kid to work every day.
I think too. I think too that a lot of people had expectation about what the escape from the Rancor pit was supposed to look like. You know, or the Sarlacc pit rather. Excuse me.
Mhm.
What the escape from the Sarlacc pit was supposed to look like. Frankly, I was ecstatic to get anything showing
I
how
agree.
he escaped. So
I
even
love
though that
he
was
did it right away.
right,
Mhm.
even though it was only like 2 minutes, 2 minutes long, I think 2 to 3 minutes at most. But to see that hand punch up through the sand, that was for me. I'm like, yeah, we're good from here. We're all right.
But
whatever
I
we do.
also loved like when he crawled out, his armor was like still like sticky and had sand here. They didn't
And
make it
was
like
sizzling. Like
it was
Yeah.
sizzling like it looked like it was lived in and he actually came out because you know sometimes they come out of the sand and they're like perfect and you're like I've been in sand, not gonna
I'm
explain
so
why.
pretty.
I didn't
It's
come
rough,
out
of
like
course, it gets everywhere.
it was everywhere. You know, so like I loved how they like showed like it was like destroyed and like he was healing from like if you looked each episode his skin was getting less and less like dried out white, you know, like so I love seeing that. Like the attention to detail they're doing is amazing. And like I don't understand why people are like, well, he's not the super strong guy I like, or he's not doing this. I wanted this. It's like, so it's not for you. Don't watch it anymore. Like, too
Just
bad,
give it
so sad.
time. Give it
Yeah,
time.
like
Phil?
there's
Everybody was-
also give it time. Like I didn't like the first couple episodes. Well, of us show I can't remember, but
Oh,
it, like
that
I
one.
get billions. Sorry,
Oh.
billions. Like it, I had to warm up to it. But
Right.
like or like Sons of Anarchy or shows like that. Like it took a couple episodes before I was like, this is they give me
Well,
more.
I think that
more.
was the difference with Mando though, is because we didn't really have a lot of Star Wars content before Mando. Mando was like kind of the first like push into Disney Plus, so everybody was excited no matter what. It could have sucked and everybody would have liked it. But
Right.
now
And
we kind of have expectations.
They gave us Grogu. They gave us
Right,
reasons
that's
to-
it.
Well,
to
Mando
stick around.
was super action heavy right from jump. Like Mando wasn't trying to tell a story at the beginning. It was just like, all right, this guy's gonna get knocked around for 3 episodes.
Mhm.
Do you guys
Right.
think if it was a little slower to start, would people still like it? I feel like
Yes.
people would have liked it either way.
I think
Like, well-
we were so starved for anything Star Wars
Exactly.
that we would perceive as good because it's like, oh, Mandalorian associate with the most badass bounty hunter in the world,
Right.
in the galaxy, Boba Fett. So this is going to be cool. And like, not a lot of casual fans, like I count myself as a casual fan, know a lot about the Mandalorians. We don't know much
Right.
because we're like, what is a Mandalorian? And so we have a show that's explaining some of that to the casual fan. And it's like, okay, cool. We're enjoying it because it's action. We're learning some stuff. Oh, and you also have like, I know Jon Favreau was planning all this out. Like, this is the brilliance of Disney. They find one person who's really smart and knows their stuff and goes, control it all, but make money. So they gave that to Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige just made the universe of nerds, right? And then Jon Favreau proved himself worthwhile, and they gave him a chance, and he's been able to destroy it, you know? And so they're like, he has a vision. I think that's why there's the third trilogy in the Star Wars, like the sequels. That's why it's considered bad, because there's no overarching story. We don't know, because they change it to each week, you know, like each episode. Yes, go.
I'm going to push back on that. So originally, all three movies were supposed to have different directors, different writers, but the story group was in charge of, here's what your movie's responsible for, here's what your movie's responsible for, and so forth, which is fairly common in Hollywood. Like, I mean, that's what Marvel's been doing.
Yeah.
After the reaction to Solo, the original director and writer for The Rise of Skywalker left, citing creative differences. But the script that they had worked on and had spent years working on got leaked. And so we know what the original outline was supposed to be. And so it's reasonable to assume that Disney was like, okay, it needs to be this now, after they'd already put 3 years into the script with a certain arc and things that the previous movies had set up. And he was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to write this. I don't want to, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And so then that's when they brought Abrams back in. So it's a really common narrative that it was like, well, I think if Abrams had gotten to do all three and then gotten to do his vision, like, Abrams wasn't doing his vision. He was doing the outline that he was instructed to do by the story group, just like Rian Johnson was. And so measuring the first two movies against the third movie is really difficult, because when the first two movies were made, the third movie was intended to be something completely different. And then we got a Star Wars Greatest Hits movie, which is not my favorite, but there are enough good things to talk about that I don't have to dedicate my content to complaining about The Rise of Skywalker. But that pivot makes it really hard to talk about the sequels, because 2/3 of it was made with one ending in mind, and then the final third was made reactionary to fan response to other stuff.
Yeah, that's not an uncommon issue with Star Wars. The same thing happened in, not the exact same thing, but the reactionary changes.
Return of the Jedi, were directed by people, not Lucas, and that's forgotten.
Right. I don't have a problem with the movies having individual directors, because the original trilogy, there's not, there's different directors for all those movies, different writers and all that. And
story would have been nice.
Yeah, but even in the prequels, there was reactionary changes because of fan, pushback and blowback and all those different things. So I mean, it is what it is.
But I do feel like the sequel trilogy is part of the reason we were so excited for Mandalorian, is we wanted Star Wars content that wasn't Skywalker related.
That too.
Absolutely.
We wanted something outside of the Skywalker saga, because
there's so much to explore
and beat repeatedly.
Right. There's so much outside the Skywalker. Yeah. I'm sorry, Alan, go ahead.
There's one Mandalorian episode with a lightsaber in it. Only one.
Yeah.
We can make Star Wars content without Jedis, without Sith.
I think that's what they wanted with the Mandalorian, because it was like, we can create this new character. If it goes belly up, none of the original canon characters will be hurt. We're safe, and it just, with the introduction of Baby Yoda, Grogu, it just exploded, and they're like, all right, so this is proof of concept that people just want Star Wars as long as it's good and has some connection to the original trilogy somehow. Right.
And I feel like when they pulled that in the finale, when Luke came and got Grogu, and we had that moment of hey, we are still in the same galaxy, we are still in the same universe, but we didn't have to be bombarded by Jedis and lightsabers the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what does this say?
That is
so John says Rise of Skywalker was a fun movie if you take it as a standalone film. I can legitimately enjoy it. I don't think it was the best end cap to the saga, though, and I would agree with that 100%. It's a good movie, but if you're trying to tie it into the rest of the saga, I think it becomes a little problematic.
However, I do now feel that with Mandalorian and with Grogu being Grogu, we need Mel Brooks to do more Spaceballs, because we need a baby Gogurt. We went from yogurt. Can we have a baby Gogurt, please?
A travel
You know what?
size, yes.
I think you know what Disney should just do. Disney should just buy the rights and create it for us, and just pay Mel Brooks to do it.
Oh.
Just
I
Disney
would
can
watch it. I would do it.
like every Star Wars fan would watch it because as much as we may hate Star Wars, we also love when something's make fun of Star Wars when it's done in like Mel
As
Brooks.
long as it's us making fun of it.
yeah, if it's us
Well,
making fun of it, we're okay with it.
That's
Because
one of the
Star Wars
reasons
is
why
our little
Robot.
brother. Only we can make fun of Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's allowed to
And
make fun of Star Wars,
And that's
except
one
for
of the
us.
reasons why. That's one of the reasons why Robot Chicken did so well. That's one of the reasons why Family Guy did so well, is because
Yeah.
they made fun of it, but they did it smartly.
They were
it was
punching
well
as
done.
equals and a little up, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they
it was-
weren't
it was
punching
good
down
fun.
on the regular. They're like, look at the toxicity. They're going like what everybody can agree that these types of Star Wars fans everyone hates because they just hate on hate, right? They don't find anything to love or anything about Star Wars. Like I find things in the prequels. Do I love all the prequels? No. Do I enjoy the story that was kind of being told? Yes, because it was giving me something a bit more about a character I liked. I liked Darth Vader.
Right.
Like he was a like in this he was a badass, right? The first time you see him, like he's just like walking in this deep corridor, and you're like, wow, badass.
But
You know?
that scene in Rogue One. Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, to piggyback on the Skywalker comment.
Yeah.
We're being done with it, and going back to Boba Fett. Do you think this is the last time we're going to see Tatooine and any and any heavy regard?
No, because I think
No,
we're going to see a
'cause-
lot of outlying lands and planets, especially stuff that was at the that was at the edge of the galaxy type stuff, where stories weren't being told of those people. Like, I mean, we have so in the last episode, and if you haven't watched it by now, it's not my fault.
It's been almost
In the last episode, we got the Black Chrysanthemum tearing the arm off the Trandoshan. It'd be cool to be able to see more of that story as to why the Trandoshians and Wookiees don't get along, and see that played out. And there's all kinds of information that can be put out on that type of stuff. Thanks, Will. That's our boy Wise. Check him out.
Oh,
Did
on
anybody
the,
else have the moment though when he walked around the corner that you're like, oh, it's a Wookiee. Oh, that's a scary Wookiee.
I'm not
Like,
a,
when he growled.
Yes. That moment where you're like, but Chewie makes me feel safe. That I do not feel safe. I do
There's a-
not.
You're not
There's a
supposed to.
really funny story about the origin of that character.
So
Black
Chris,
Chrysanthemum growled, and I said, "I need an adult."
Daddy, please.
So I told my husband, 'cause we were watching it together, and we both had that moment of the, oh,
You're not
boy.
friendly.
Oh,
Right.
You're not friendly, dog.
I'm like, I feel like it was that same feeling as when U.S. agent has Cap's shield, and all of a sudden there's blood all over Captain America's shield, and you're like,
That's not.
yeah, it
That's
just
not-
doesn't
that's not right. That's not. There's
you
not.
feel like walking in
Wait,
on your
we're
parents
watching
having
Disney
sex. Like
Plus,
that's what
right?
it felt like.
right?
Jake,
Nick, you were going to say something.
Blood on Captain America's shield. That.
Jake, I'm assuming you have this story too.
Yeah, so-
the original author for Black Chrysanthemum, the working title they used for his name,
No, I don't.
No.
this floated around TikTok from some of our mutuals, so I wasn't sure if you'd seen it yet. And so the author let us know on Twitter when he was first writing that character that the working name for that character was Nubaka.
That was going in such a different way than I was expecting, considering like the generation that may have written that character.
I'm glad that's where we landed, though.
Yeah. Oh, I'm super happy. Like I was like,
Stuck the landing.
the landing stuck. It was amazing, good job. But I was like, oh, this could be bad.
But I am excited to see where his character goes.
So, do you guys think do you think we're going to see him in Kenobi? That's a good question.
I would
Ooh.
say yes.
That's how he
Because-
gets the star.
Yeah, he gets that scar from Kenobi.
My question, okay, for Kenobi, is there going to be that duel between Darth Maul?
No, because that already happened.
Yeah, he's already
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
He's already gone.
It happened in Rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah, no, I know it.
Right.
I know it previously happened, and I'm just saying for casual fans because some of the casual fans didn't watch Rebels or
Mhm.
Clone Wars because they thought it was for children.
Would I
Right.
like
It's
to
not.
see it? Yes,
Might
but I don't think
flashback.
it's going to be there.
I was
They
going to
could-
say it might be a flashback because they brought
They could. Yeah.
brought other cartoon characters into real, and so why would they not? I mean, they could do it again.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt my
Technically,
feelings.
You went from
Okay, I do think they're going to bring it because it's such a huge thing in the like hardcore Star Wars fans, and it would be an amazing, like they can call back, they can get Rey to come in and play it once more, you know, and you can get the like this amazing duel, and people are going to love it. Like you can build up to it and have flashbacks because he could be battling the syndicate, you know, like the reborn syndicate or whatever, so that it could be like flashbacks to, okay, how is this, and then you can tie in because there's rumors, and I don't know if we're allowed to talk about rumors on the show.
Sure.
Are we allowed? Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's rumors that the Pikes are not the real threat behind it.
Yep.
It's the syndicate, and you're gonna have what's her name?
Kira.
Yeah, Kira show up with a possibility of
There's
Harrison Ford de-aged, so that they can have that ending or whatever.
So Phil, if you listen to the theme music of the Boba Fett show,
Boba.
the music matches.
He's not from the
with-
South. It's Boba.
Boba Fett.
Oh, not you. Boba Fett lives in a trailer park.
The music actually matches, and they use the same theming from the Crimson Dawn
I didn't know that.
in the.
Okay,
Solo.
cool. Again,
So there's a little
So-
musical note tie-in. I didn't even know it. Nick showed it to me today, and he's like, "Did you see this? That we might, you know, there's a possibility of something with Crimson Dawn." I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah."
It's
And
gotta
then
be,
shows me
though.
the bit
And-
right in. I was like, "Oh,
It's gotta be.
Speaking of other music, so like the music at
this is why I
in
love this
episode
podcast.
4, in episode 4, we get the music from the Mandalorian's theme.
Yes, that I noticed because it's a very like it's a
It's
western, so it's like
yeah."
this is
very
a
distinct,
space
yeah.
and this is
And it's
this.
like-
I don't understand.
Yep, we're gonna get more Mando.
Well, because
And
there is
Fennec
that point
Choose it up.
when you have the flashback and Mando's going into the scene, you have the guys putting the skeleton the helmets, and you have what's her name walking in the background with her bots, and we actually get
Sedaris,
her. I'm horrible with names. And we get her like that same kind of Mando walks by, so we know it's. And then with the latest episode, again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but Tim already ruined it.
It's been over 48 hours.
No longer
For a
spoiler.
TV show, I usually give 72. Just because I'm
Well,
Anyway,
nice.
it came out Thursday, so
I know
we're
it's
Wednesday.
like we're
Okay.
what, 4 or 5 days. Like it's
It
it's
came out
fine.
Wednesday.
Thanks, Grimskull.
You see the backstory of how he gets with Finn, I think her name is, or
Fennec.
Finnick. Thank you, Finnick. And you see the whole thing, and you see him pick her up at like the end of episode 5, I think, of Mando. So it's like, if you don't think he's showing up, you're first of all, you're a fool, because Pedro doesn't have to be there. He just has to record his lines, and we're done. And they can pay anybody to be in the suit, right? That's what they did with the show, right? So
Mando's
it's
got 3 actors that wear the suit for various like
Pedro.
they're not
Shots,
various
remotely
scenes, yeah.
the same shape.
Yeah.
Like when you
Yeah.
see them side by side, they look. It's
No.
the armor does all the work.
Yeah,
So,
I am
how do
glad
you-
though that Pedro Pascal finally learned to wear a helmet.
there you go.
how do
Chris, you were
guys,
trying to
Some
say
people will
something?
get that
Okay,
joke.
go ahead.
Chris, you were trying to say something?
I was just giggling at the jokes.
Okay, fair enough.
Take it
Fair
away,
enough.
man. Run with something.
I
You
got
got the
something.
spotlight on you. Just go.
So
Well, I thought Nick had a question for me.
Oh no, I was just gonna point out that we will see more Tatooine in the future with Obi-Wan. And
Yeah, well, my question was though. I guess we will, yeah, because I think I've seen some criticism online. Imagine that about there's too much focus
Touch
on
my
Tatooine.
pearls.
You know,
it's where everything starts, though.
I know exactly right. That is true. That is true. But of all the places in the Star Wars universe, why go to this backwater desert
Sure.
planet and focus so much on there? But I am interested
there's
to
an
see what
internal
else is going
inside
on.
it.
What's going to happen
That-
besides
2 reasons.
what's that?
There's 2 reasons. Star Wars learned during the sequel trilogy that if they get too off script, the flesh is really strong, difficult to control. And the second one is because doing sets in Tunisia is really inexpensive. And so for
Money,
Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Kenobi, we are going to see a whole lot of Tunisia and a whole lot of Vancouver. That's
You're
what
not
we're
wrong.
going to see.
So
It's
his question actually leads into what I was going to ask. So how do you guys think he's going to get Mando in the next episode, do you think they're gonna just like call up the guild and be like, "Hey, we need this guy," or do you think they're gonna go to Mandalore? I think they're gonna leave Tatooine next episode. I don't
They
think
have
they're
a
staying.
history. I think Fennec probably has a back channel.
You think so?
to Reach out.
So I am curious as to where that specific thing fell
Right.
in the timeline.
In the timeline.
Because they do appear in the Mandalorian, and I was going to go back and watch that today and be like, okay, where exactly is this? Because he doesn't have his armor yet, but he does. But he's going to need Mando. So I'm thinking they meet up with Mando at that point, and I have to almost rewatch that episode because I want. Like, why were they
you're talking
there?
about the Boba reveal episode in Mando.
In
and then-
Mandalorian.
In Mando.
That's
Yeah.
like right after the last flashback we got, basically. So
Yeah.
he takes it. He helps Fennec, and then they basically right after that follow Mando after that flashback. But in
Right,
present
so I'm wondering.
time, where that's what I'm wondering is in present time, where is Mando when Fennec says, credits
So,
to get you muscle?
In season 3 of Mandalorian is where
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Right.
So there is a rumor
Pretty
that
much,
he's
yeah.
going to have a Naboo fighter now as his ship.
Hmm.
That's something that
Go on board with that shit.
you are. or
That'd
you're
be
not.
pretty
Favorite
sick, yeah.
ship in Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
Go on board for that shit.
Yeah,
Well,
so he apparently, because obviously his ship got
Right.
destroyed.
Yeah. The old. Yeah.
I'd be
Okay.
kind of sad though if they just call him though. I'm hoping for Mandalore. I hope we get to see someone go get him because he's got to be there. 100%. He's got to be there. Moff Gideon's there.
I think you're going to see. I'm hoping. Let's put it this way. I shouldn't say I think. I'm hoping that we do leave planet for a little while. I hope that we do go to Mandalore. I hope that we get to see
Just one episode.
at least one episode. I want to see Bo-Katan. I want to see, because, and if you think about it, bringing Mando in makes a lot of sense because not only is he, Mando and super cool and everybody loves him, but he's also still has, the Darksaber.
right.
He did not turn that over to Bo. She would not take it. Rather, he tried to turn it over to her, but she wouldn't take it because felt she had to win it. So, I'm excited to see if there's a possibility of her circling back into the Boba Fett episode. And then, will that give her an opportunity to get the Darksaber from Mando at that point? So
There's a line we haven't brought up yet that I feel like was pretty significant from episode 3.
go for it.
And so when the Hutts show up initially and make their threat, and so the Hutts show up, they make their threat, and Fennec has the line, "They're Hutts. You'll have to have permission to kill them."
Mm-hmm.
And so we get it established that there's some kind of a governing body that needs to supply a thumbs up for certain political level targets for them to get offed. And so there's that. Who is it that gives permission? But then the other one, so like it's demonstrated that they don't need to be afraid of anything. And then they give the Rancor and peace out. So whoever the Pikes are, it's very reasonable to think they're a cat's paw. Because like Crimson Dawn
Yeah.
seems like it's the looming specter because it's the
Gotta
only
be.
established organized crime in Star Wars universe at the
Mhm.
moment. And so it seems like Crimson Dawn is the muscle behind the Pikes, so to speak. But it's somebody big and scary. But who is it that gives permission to off a Hutt? And who is it that's powerful enough to get permission from that body? Because the two of those things inform us about what's going to happen moving forward.
Mhm.
Because
Right.
whoever the governing body is going to be a relevant player, and whoever the organized muscle
Mm-hmm.
that would be able to purchase permission.
But then
There's
the
a
Hutts
lot there to
going
figure
back
out.
So
to
I have
too.
I have a feeling that we're gonna get the Pikes are gonna be shown that they're not the big threat by the end of the season, and then it's like it's Cara Ladoon or the Red Dawn or whatever they're called, and that's gonna be season 2, and then we're gonna find out more about the governance side of the black market and all that in season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, and season 3 will be Boba Fett trying to disrupt it because he doesn't like the way of the Order is and all this, and that's when we're going to start getting off planet. Like I think we're going to be pretty much on planet. Maybe one or two, an episode where he goes, gets Mando, says, "Hey, you owe me. Remember when I did that job with you? Yeah, come." You know, we'll have that next episode. And then it's like, we all, like Marvel and Disney always make like the penultimate, like the most badass episode. And then the final, they just go, they give us that like final thing. So I feel like we'll have a reveal that season 2 is going to have like the Black Dawn or whatever, the Red Dawn, whatever they're called. Crimson Dawn. Thank you. I knew it was a color.
That would be Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
I think it's Crimson Dawn for 1,000.
Delta Dawn.
Oh man, now that's supposed to be stuck in my head.
Yeah, so that's how I
hate
think
that
they're
song.
going to go for the rest of the seasons. I have no idea what they're doing with Mando. I'm just on season.
So you guys think it's not gonna be like, I don't know. I kind of think it's gonna happen this season. I think the next episode we're gonna get Mando, and then we're at least gonna get the start of this war. I don't know if they would push that out to after a season, just because like people already don't like how there's not enough action in the show. I don't think because there's a rumor that episode 6 is gonna be where a big cameo happens, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So if
Well,
that's
right
not,
now
if
they're
that's,
talking that might be Windu. That
I
could
don't
be-
know about that. I don't think I would like that, to be honest.
Well, and I'm skeptical.
Where
that,
was he? Where was he the whole original trilogy? No way. He just didn't do nothing.
Maybe,
that whole time.
maybe he was
No
luking
way.
it, hiding it off on another.
No, if
planet
they do that
somewhere.
again, I'm done. I don't want.
Done with this show. No, I think it's going to be. I
That's
think
the
it's
martial
gonna,
arts trope, though.
Yeah.
Like,
We-
I think it'll be Bo-Katan.
We also don't know the whereabouts of Ezra Bridger.
I don't think they'll show him until Ahsoka.
But
to
not
be
until
honest.
Ahsoka. I don't see
No?
that happening until Ahsoka. No.
So which episode do you think Boba rides the Rancor?
Episode 7, the last one.
yeah.
Is that 7?
That's what I'm saying. It's the war. Like the war is going to at least start this season. It might not end this season, but this war between whoever and Boba is going to start.
I don't
And we're
know
gonna
that
get
it'll
that.
physically start, but I think that it will give us the ammunition to show that it's en route and it's happening, and so that way they can hit season 2 on the ground running.
Yeah.
I think most of season 1, what we're enduring right now, I shouldn't say enduring because that sounds bad, because I actually love the show. I'm very happy with the pacing of it. Is we're getting so much backstory and needed backstory so we can understand what Boba has gone through, where he's been, what he's done, what he's learned, the importance of the lessons that he gained from the Sand People, and why that meant so much. Because he even talks about that he learned that he needed a tribe, and so right now he's gathering his tribe, and I think that tribe is going to help him fight. What's that?
Are we going to see the Tuskens again? Sorry, I was so
Oh, yeah.
tired.
For sure.
our
I hope
girl?
so.
Where's our girl at?
Ooh, wait.
That's what I want to talk about.
we saw her.
This is very important.
we
This
saw
one
her
right here.
outfit as one of the corpses.
Wait, she's no way.
We just saw the stick, didn't we? We
No,
didn't see
no,
their.
no.
I don't know.
No,
I think
there's-
are you sure?
There's a lot of there's bodies hanging off stuff and some other things. That's actually that is something that I simultaneously appreciated and was very frustrated by. Is everybody okay if I complain about a trope for a minute?
Yeah,
Sure.
go for it.
Okay, so there's something that is called fridging that typically is used to describe something that happens to a female character.
Cal
So we see it in superheroes a lot, or superhero movies a lot, where the romantic interest of the hero is a female, and something happens to them, whether it's that they die or they get threatened or whatever, and it becomes the motivation for the hero to hero.
Yep.
Now it's personal,
Yeah,
stuff like that. And so one of the things I had really hoped was that humanizing the Tuskens was something that we were going forward. And then they leaned into the trope of, oh, I know, we are going to massacre a tribe of natives to provide motivation for the hero. And I realized that they needed to create an incident to get him out of the tribe to move him forward, because he had to learn his lesson.
Right.
He also had to leave. And so they had to create an incident where he was going to leave. I was very, very disappointed that they chose that route.
The kill 'em
Because
all
like
route,
up
yeah.
to this point, I have been stoked that they were breaking a lot of the sort of the stereotypical and racially based stereotype that had been wrapped around the Tuskens. I was really glad they were finally doing something other than that and
Right.
humanizing them in a cool way and stuff like that. And then episode 3 happened, and I was just like,
Yeah, I had issues with episode 3.
Buckle up, kids. It's about to be a bumpy ride.
I am enjoying
I'm
the
just
show.
messaging my
I'm happy
mom
with the show.
saying I'm going to be a bit longer. Get
I
it?
have to message the Department of Life. I understand.
But they did atone for a few of those things in episode 4, and I was like, okay, I guess that works.
I still think the that female warrior and that little kid are going to show up in 6 or 7 because we did.
I hope so.
They didn't show them specifically, so
Right.
there is a chance.
I'm just glad we got the biker scene, not the Power Ranger scene, not that Power Ranger scene. I'm talking about the biker scene. Speeder bikes, not the
Well,
mopeds.
that was I think that was a nod to American Graffiti, but it reminded me of the neutrinos from the original Ninja Turtles 5 episode arc.
It's actually
was
a
a-
nod to the 50s British kids who would take their little Vespas and put mirrors all over them.
Yeah, they're called mods.
and- Yeah, exactly. They were called mods,
Literally,
in fact. Yeah.
It made me
And
think about
it's kind of
the rebirth of the Daleks too, when
Yeah.
they brought the rainbow-colored Daleks onto Doctor Who.
it's just if they wouldn't have made them look like rideable KitchenAid mixers, it would have been
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
If
If it looked a little faster, it felt too slow to me. It like they
Mhm.
were
Yeah.
barely
They
moving.
felt clunky.
Yeah.
You could run faster than these things.
Right. Yeah, that was the slowest speed racer chase I've ever seen.
They mod their bodies, not their vehicles, I guess. So,
apparently that is too slow and unfurious.
so why doesn't
Well,
one
some guy
have
with
legs
treadmills
that
The
Yeah.
can
That's
unslow
reverse
and
X-Men.
uncoordinated.
Yeah, it was a little rough there, a little bit, but that was my biggest issue with episode 3. I just had a
That's the
hard
only
time.
thing. It's the only thing I haven't liked so far.
Even on some level, I actually kind of liked it because it was that bizarre. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't fit. What are you doing?
As much as it frustrated me, I too also liked it because there was part of me that kind of reminded me of old campy sci-fi.
Yeah.
Where it was, the really bad special effects and or early CGI where it was clearly and obviously computer aided and
I don't know, just on Tatooine though, that was my problem. If it was on like Coruscant, I could see it like way more. Like,
Right.
I could be like, oh, okay. But on
It's hard
Tatooine,
to tell speed with a whole
Boba
bunch of
Fett
sand.
and the
It's
cyber
easy.
slowpoke.
but then like his jetpack, he's got to be able to fly faster than those things. Like he shows up. What was he just
Right.
hovering above him the whole time?
Yeah, because
That
he was
was-
testing out his crew. He was seeing how well they operated.
Anybody else curious how he didn't light his robe on fire? That's all I'm thinking about. Like he's got this cloth robe.
No kids.
Right?
Okay.
Because
No
Edmund
kids
Bolt
for you.
taught us nothing.
So
Well, and like,
I
so
need to
for
watch that
me,
tomorrow.
like especially on Tatooine, so like jumping off of Jake's point, like on Tatooine, everything, even the rich people's stuff, looks
Mhm.
like very clunky, unfinished, made out of spare parts,
mhm.
held together with duct tape and hope, all
And
that kind of
dirty.
thing. And so having the mods be like
Shiny
and like garish colors and all that kind of stuff. Like I appreciated the nod. I thought that was very cool, but it felt very, very out of place in a way that didn't necessarily make sense.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that's
took me out of it a bit.
Exactly. Just takes you out of the scene. It
Yeah.
really does.
Now that you mention it, yes, I didn't notice it at first because for me it was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Look at their eyeballs. But look, I'm a simple person.
I love the construct of those characters. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think the characters are
I think
awesome.
it's-
The characters
And I
are
feel
awesome.
like that's the difference between the casual Star Wars viewers like me and Phil, who are like, oh, yay, more Star Wars, and
Yeah.
the more in-depth Star
Yeah.
Wars fans who are like, but that's not what it really looks like.
Oh god.
Even if they
Phil, you're
just-
killing me.
I'm like a
Even if
golden
they just-
retriever, like, ooh,
Eyeballs. Hi. So
Even if they just muted the colors
Yeah,
slightly
exactly.
Mhm.
and then threw some dust on
Handed
them.
them on them. Yeah, exactly.
I like the chrome.
yeah,
I thought
you
the
did
chrome
one
was-
dent.
scratch it up, make it look like at least used, and it comes from
Right.
Right.
Like, look,
Because if they had enough money to get these brand new
mods, and-
mopeds,
yeah, because they
why-
couldn't
why are they
afford,
there?
you know,
Those
Yeah.
brand
why
new-
are they there? They can't buy water, so just leave. If you can afford those bikes, just leave.
Well, I also
Right.
can understand why, because like when I was young, I was getting tattoos. So it was like, do I get another tattoo or do I go and pay rent?
Oh, I'm cool. You spend your money on your
Pretty
body
shiny
mods. I'm
art?
talking about the bikes and,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
specific-
Well, they need the bikes they needed to steal. They stole the bikes, obviously. Or they
All
were
right,
gifted
guys.
the bikes.
We are running. Well, we're actually a little overtime tonight. And although I'm enjoying this, I want to give you guys each a chance, real quick, to plug your show or your TikTok channel. Phil, we'll start with you. We'll just go in order across the screen. Tell everybody one more time, just briefly, about you and where they can find you.
I'm Phil Better, the podcast mogul. I host 6 podcasts. You can find me all on Instagram at podcaster Phil Better. Thank you so much.
I'm so tired hearing that. Whew. Goodness.
If you show up to my lives every single day, you're gonna hear that.
I do hear it every day.
Tim's
I-
like
I-
3
'cause
shows.
I
is
listen.
too
I
many.
listen for a reason. I do 3 shows and I'm tired. All right, Chris. Hey,
Everyone,
Garth.
thanks for letting me play in your sandbox, pun intended, a little bit. I really appreciated the discourse. You can find me at Scar Bearers on Apple Podcasts, all the podcast places, and Chris DT Gordon is my YouTube channel where I speak with others about their trials and tribulations, and we talk about how to pass on perfection and go for greatness. So again, thanks a lot for the conversation.
Absolutely. And I've been a guest on Chris's show. It's a really good show. I strongly encourage it. If you guys are looking for a positive, upbuilding conversation about people who've gone through some crap, go to Chris's show and you'll hear some really cool stories from some really cool people. Me too. I've been on there. Go check it out. Anyway,
Really cool. And Tim.
Jake, go ahead. Tell us about you.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It was my first time on a podcast. I actually really enjoyed it. You guys are awesome. Go follow me on TikTok, Jake the Jedi. Click the link in my bio. Go buy yourself a lightsaber, better than a stick. Go ahead, Master Allen.
Side note, Tim, I need to introduce you to Darth Jocko if you guys aren't already friends, because he's got an awesome pod as well. I think he'd be a fantastic
He's
guest.
been a guest.
Oh, that's
We
right.
interviewed him.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He and Element 7
Element-
both.
Yeah. They always bring receipts. I love listening to them tell stuff.
Those guys
Right.
are great.
So I am your friendly neighborhood Master Allen, purveyor of lightsabers, guaranteed better than a stick. And Tim, I forgot to message you about this when you sent me the link earlier. So the Funny Science Fiction podcast is actually about to get its very own coupon code so that your listeners will be able to get 10% off of purchase. They'll have to enter the coupon code in at checkout. And so I will be able to talk to you about that
I'm listening.
later on today. But then all of you guys that are fans of Jake, make sure you follow him. If you want to help support his content, use his link. Because I get to support him through the purchases that happen through his link. Those of you that are fans of the Funny Science Fiction Pod, like I said, you guys are about to get a coupon code dedicated to the podcast that you come and check out on a weekly basis. And same thing, you can support the pod and support all of these awesome people when you purchase through their link instead of through mine. Okay.
You
So like,
mentioned
I'm very, very
coupon
happy to
code
have you
for
purchase
a
through mine.
large
But I would
thump from
way
my
rather see you support them.
You said coupon code, and I legitimately heard a large thump from my living room. I think my husband just passed out.
When he looks up, also the pre-order for the Xenopixel electronics, which is, so this is hard to see because it's so bright the camera can't pick it up. But if I put it right next to my face, you can see how it's changing color. And so a standard lightsaber, like what Nick showed us earlier, the light is in the base. So a lot of times they're called base light. Go ahead and hit it. So it lights up all at once. Okay. Now I don't want to have to talk over that, so you got to mute it. And that's called a base lit because the light is in the base. The light is strips of LEDs inside the blade. So these I do not recommend for dueling because while they are better than a stick, replacing your blades is also a lot more expensive. But they can do a lot of cool features. Like this is the Spectrum. That is the easiest way to demonstrate that. Like the blades can just do a whole bunch of stuff. You also have the ability to pull the little SD card out, put your own sound fonts on it. So you can go to Kyberphonic and some of the other sound font makers out there, get your own fonts, load them on your lightsaber. So you get to customize it in that way. They're fantastic for like showing flow. They're a lot of fun for cosplay or just like swinging around in your room when you're doing a podcast. They're also sneaky, a really good light source for filming. Because they emit so much light in the same way that a ring light does.
Noise.
Yeah. and then it gives you the ability to sort of do environmental lighting and all that kind of thing. So if you are, hypothetically speaking, a podcaster and you kind of need a lightsaber to do those things for you, or because it would be fun, then you can either purchase through Tim's link. The pre-order, where you're going to save a lot of money, ends tomorrow, so you have until the end of the 25th.
I think he's talking to me with my jaw hitting the floor.
I'm over here with the, do I have wiggle room or can I?
Just, if you're close, just message me. We'll figure it out. I've known you long enough. Like, we'll just figure it out, whatever.
Can I has lightsabers?
I'll send you guys links individually here in a moment.
I also now need that on a shirt, Tim. I can have lightsaber.
I can't has lightsabers.
And Tim, I need to talk to you and the tea shop about Better Than a Stick on a shirt.
Ooh, yeah.
We can make that happen.
Yes,
I know a guy.
Also, you need a Rancor. Or you need Boba and Danny Trejo riding on a Rancor on a T-shirt.
We might be able to work on that. I know a guy.
You know a guy? That's good.
I know a guy.
Okay.
All right, Nick. Hey, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Don't go away just yet. We want to stick around here for just a moment. Nick, tell us about last Friday.
So last Friday, our guest was Michael Cerverus, who was the Observer in The Fringe, Ramses IV in The Tick, Professor Pig in Gotham, and part of the MCU as Elias Starr in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Hi, I'm Michael Cerverus, and you're listening to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
He's working right now.
And you can still find that episode of Funny Science Fiction on our YouTube channel and your favorite audio podcast providers.
And remember, your subscription to our YouTube channel is a major help. So please do not forget to click the like and subscribe button.
I just did.
All right. And I am so excited to get to do this, guys. This Friday, our guest is the lead singer and guitarist for a band that you need to know called the Crash Tones. But you also may know him as Davis Bloom, aka Doomsville in Smallville. And you might recognize him as the man behind Another Voice. Let's see.
Hey, this is Sam Whitwer. Welcome to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast. Execute episode 66.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right, kiddos.
So I have a little kind of Easter. Tim was a guest on one of my shows, and he kind of like let it slip that. So I've been like holding it in for so long.
We have been
Tim told me too. Yeah, I was like,
excited to share this.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, our interview with Sam Witwer, the voice, of course, of Darth Maul from Clone Wars, from Rebels, from the Solo movie. Yes, the man who screams Kenobi so attractively, will be on our special episode 66 this week. We talk with Sam about, of course, Star Wars. We talk about his band, the Crash Tones. We talk about music being on vinyl and the importance of owning music instead of just listening to it through Apple and Spotify and all those other places. And most importantly, now every guest that comes on our show, yeah, he has some dogs and they're cute.
Dogs are adorable.
But and they wanted to be part of the show a couple different times. But now, if you have never seen Sam do any type of Star Wars trivia or anything along those lines, the man is a Star Wars genius. He has forgotten more than I will ever learn about Star Wars. And he absolutely destroyed our trivia. It wasn't even, it was a cakewalk for him. And I thought I actually threw some hard ones at him. I was like, all right, I threw one softball at him to make sure that, he would do well.
And he laughed at it.
He laughed at all. Yeah.
I like
Isn't
to
that
think
how
I'm a
he-
pretty big nerd, and I didn't even know the softball question.
Isn't that
I would
how
have
he got the
failed
spot?
outright.
Isn't that how he got his spot on
Mhm.
Yeah, because he was like the only one who knew what he was talking about in Force
Pretty
Unleashed.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we talk Star Wars RPG games.
Yes, I know he loves those.
He is a huge RPG fan, and it makes me so happy. That's a terrible face, Tim.
I
Well-
can see the pure joy in everyone's face.
I know. I was laughing so hard through most of the interview.
We always have fun.
That's gonna be on Friday.
That is coming out
Friday, yeah.
this Friday.
And what time is that? Just so I know.
It goes up at does it go up at midnight.
Technically 12:01
Okay.
it'll be posted and ready.
I'll
And
be on the
that's
plane. I'm watching that on the plane.
As long as Nick can get his editing act together.
Get your
All right, so-
editing act together, Nick.
Gosh, Nick.
in theory by 12:01, technically by 7:00 in the morning. So somewhere in between there, we'll have this episode with Sam. Now, Sam is not the only Star Wars person we have upcoming. We're not going to say who they are yet, but there are some really other cool names that we've been able to. Yeah,
It's like
One-
a dad on Christmas. Oh yeah, I remember getting you that.
Right.
Oh, congratulations, kid! Enjoy that. No, we have one coming up with that we've recorded. It's in the books. It's got to go through the editing process. Very excited about that one as well. And another one who I'm negotiating the date and time right now. Looks like we're going to interview them this Friday. So very excited. Got some really cool stuff coming up. We also just interviewed, not Star Wars related, but since we mentioned Gotham just a moment ago, we interviewed Cameron by Condova, who was who plays Selena Kyle in the Gotham series. That'll be coming up here in a couple weeks as well. So anyway,
Hi, Master Allen.
Bye, guys. I'm sorry. I got to put my kids to
Nope.
bed.
that's okay. Thank you for being here. All right, guys, that's going to conclude us today for Funny Science Fiction, the live edition. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, make sure that you do just as the thing tells you down below. Only hit it once. Hitting it twice undoes any of the cool, fun things that you just did. Done diddly did. So
Done diddly dude.
done diddly did. All right, guys, that's it. Enjoy.
Thank you guys.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySci-Fi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.